let me show you what I did here. Is I found a pretty good deal on some steaks, some Kansas City strips. And if you'll take a look, see that marbling in there? Look, I got a great price for it. 2 for $10 on that. They had a couple of packs of them, so I bought 2 packs of those. And I don't know if you know about the way they grade steaks, you know, USDA PRIME and Choice and all that. But what they're looking for, and I think that these are the best cuts of meat you can buy when you get that marbling in there, all through there. Now I will tell you, as a rule of thumb, I don't like to buy steak on sale. But with that marbling, those just look really good to me. I will be honest with you and tell you later how they turned out. But what I'm going to do is steak freezes kind of nicely. Look at those. That's just great marbling. Maybe not prime, but with that marbling, that's pretty good. So guess what we're doing? Of course, another parchment paper video. So let me show you what I'm going to do. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do these like my pork chops, and I'm going to spice them up just a little bit. I've come to like a little bit, and of course because I'm filming, I dumped way too much on there. Darn it. Dumped way too much on there. There's a little bit of Italian seasoning that I've come to like on my steaks, just for kind of a fun little flavor. What we'll do is we'll try to soak some of that off of there like that. Okay, so we've taken those good old steaks and spiced them up a little bit. And we get out our parchment paper and rip off a sheet there. Can you see that? And what you do is just flip it over like that. Once over like that, so it's all the way at the end. And then turn one corner up. And then turn the other corner up. And then flip it over. And I can't do that while I'm filming. But when I'm done, here's what I've got. Some nice... And I'll use this parchment paper when I cook these. If I cook them on the George Foreman grill, I'll use that parchment paper to actually cook them. If I do them on the grill outside, then I'll do them another way. So then what I do is put them in a good old Ziploc bag, write the date, suck the air out of them, and for good measure, I double Ziploc them. So we got them double Ziplocked. Got it labeled, and I'll put those in the freezer when I'm in the mood for steak. I've got a couple of bargain steaks, and I'll tell you how they taste, and I'll show you how I cook these whenever I pull them out sometime. Sound like a deal? See you later. Well, these steaks have been calling my name ever since I packed them up the other day, and they're not like the pork chops. I think you want to pull them out and thaw them. And see, it comes out just really nicely like that. So it's not all stuck together with the rest of them. Set them off to the side there. And close that back up. Have one out to thaw. And put these back in the freezer. See, that's a frozen solid steak. But that's okay. I'm just not going to cook it frozen like I do the pork chops. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put it back into this Ziploc bag here in case it leaks. You know, as it's thawing and the meat juices run around. And just roll that up like that, and we'll put that in the refrigerator for a day and let it thaw, and we'll cook those tomorrow, and I'll show you how that goes. Okay, it's the next day, and here's the steak. Now, nicely thawed out. You can see that it did bleed around a little bit, and I just took it out of the refrigerator. And what you want to do is let these steaks sit out and get up to room temperature for about a half an hour before you cook them. So I'm going to do that now. And I'll be back in a half hour. Now for my steak that is thawed out and ready to go and up to room temperature, I am going to warm up the Foreman grill. And while it's warming up, you know, I've come to like these. I'm not associated with anything I show on any of my YouTubes. I'm only here to give you ideas on stuff. And all you do is open them up, pull them out of the wrapping. Comes in a solid thing like that. Put them on a plate and microwave that for 1 minute and 30 seconds. And with these old-fashioned Foreman grills, they may get nasty, but boy, they sure heat up quick. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to use my parchment paper, which I actually used to wrap it and thaw it, and it's got some juice on there, but that's okay. Get my folds going so I can get the juice coming running out of there properly. Slide this down just a little bit. And I could have cooked this on the grill, but I'm just ready to go. I'm not in the mood to fire up the grill tonight. And then let's just do this process. Get these edges bent up so the juice runs properly into the thing. And there we go. Let that cook for, I don't know, 5-10 minutes or something. And our steak is cooking there. Mashed potato, or my baked potato, what I'm calling it. Did it for 1.5 minutes. Show you a trick I got, is I've got some cream cheese. Stick right there in the middle of it. Just drop it right in there. And I've got some shredded cheddar I'm going to put right on there. And for the second 1.5 minutes that I cook it, because it calls for it to be cooked about 3 minutes, I'm going to heat all that up in the microwave for another 1.5 minutes. Meanwhile, the light went off and our steak is cooking. As I said, it doesn't have a great color, but it does cook pretty well on these. Now on this old grill, I think the heating elements are kind of uneven, so I do got to flip it. But it's still cooking it on both sides, the top and bottom, like the George Foreman grill is supposed to. So let's do the microwave for another 1.5 minutes. Steak is still cooking. The potato is in there for about 1 minute and 10 seconds. And then you just take and you stir that all together. Like I say, I was trying to make baked potatoes, and I used to be able to, one way or another, in the oven or the microwave or heating them up or something, but it just got where I was getting bad baked potatoes in the middle were black or whatever. And for like $1.50, $1.75, those Larry's baked potatoes, they don't have a lot of ingredients, not a lot of extra preservatives and stuff, I don't think. And boy, you do that, and that is like my old auntie's awesome baked potatoes. Put a little bit of salt and pepper on that, and those just blend up to be the potato portion of my meal. So that's a little extra for you. Meanwhile, yum! Meanwhile, the steak is cooking. As a reminder, the parchment paper is on there because my Foreman grill is just gross and I can't clean it anymore. Okay, I think that steak is going to be done. Lift her up. Looks awful good. We'll just take and lay that steak right on there. And we let the steak sit for a couple of minutes. Unplug the old Foreman grill. Here's our paper. They protected us, worked well even after being in the freezer to cover the steak up to make it easy to break apart, and we just throw that away. And that is a meal fit for a king, I think. Let's take a look at the steak. Let steak sit for about 5 minutes. I'll be back in a second. Steak sat for 3 or 4 minutes. Let the juices get all done. And there, you're taking a look at the inside of the steak as I cut it up just to see. Let's go ahead and sample the steak. I promised you I would tell you if it was a good one, because these are $5 a piece for strips, is not too bad. And That's good steak. And as I sit down to dinner, take a bite of this steak. And potatoes, juicy. That's really good. Yum. Dip up some of that juice with the bread. That's delicious. Not a big fan, as I said, not a big fan of buying steak on sale, but I think this was some kind of deal where they got a bunch of it. 2 for $10, freeze them up, and just tastes really good and easy to cook on the Foreman grill. Okay, cheers everybody. Hope that helps and shows you another in the parchment paper series. Let me take a couple of pictures for you for posterity.